Good morning, beloved saints. Today, I wanted to do a proverb, just something on basic wisdom, an example of godly wisdom that actually I had as a child. And it really, it worked, it was perfect. And it's not such a serious thing that it'll be too heavy for you. But let me just start right up front in Proverbs. I for a long time I've been wanting to leave a legacy for my son, like a book of life instructions and things I learned, and I try to share them with him if he can pay attention for more than 30 seconds. So I'm been wanting to put that together. Um, but this one, we're just gonna start right up front in the first book. It's Solomon writing a book of wisdom for his child. He had many children, but this was specifically to his son. Wise words of what makes a successful and purposeful life, and things to do and things to look out for, and not to be deceived, and things that God hates and things that God loves, and this kind of thing. But right up front here, we're going to start at Proverbs 1 and verse 8. We'll start there. It says, "My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son," this is it, "my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, Come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause." Every time you see somebody's house being broken into boldly, I'm saying, like busting through the front door or pretending they need to use a phone, there's always a group of them. Somebody's coerced the other one. Let's go rob them. Let's go beat them up. It always gets out of hand and somebody gets killed. But it's always a group. You'll notice that. If they say, Come with us, let us wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Just crimes against strangers for your benefit. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down to the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. So the way they entice them is, look, first of all, it'll be fun. Secondly, we can brag. Thirdly, we're going to leave with a ton of money. We could go here. Maybe we take a vacation. We could go travel somewhere. We could buy this thing we wanted, or take the car, or whatever. It's spoils. It's money. It's things they can steal and leave. They can leave and go home with. And that's the temptation, right? What you're going to get, right? Easy stuff. It's not, I don't want to work for it. I just want to take other people's stuff. Because after all, I don't have anything and they have a lot. Doesn't mean it's yours. I hate that attitude, that narcissistic, selfish. Why did you steal that? Well, they had four and I don't have any. It's theirs. That actually happened. Somebody had $400 and somebody took 100 out, and this was supposed to be a friend of theirs. Like, why did you do that? Well, they had 400. We didn't have anything. It was their. It's their what? All right. Can't even talk to somebody like that. But it's true. This is the attitude. So, they're tempted by what they can get and the peer pressure, right? They don't want to be the one that's chicken, scared to go, scared to do it. That's why they get each other riled up. We see even the fallen ones, the watchers, did this with each other. "Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse." And it never goes three ways equally. "My son, walk not in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood." They have no respect for human life whatsoever. Just what they can get. You are just an obstacle in the way for what they want. This is what psychopaths and sociopaths do. They don't see you as a human being with emotions and have empathy for what you're feeling. It's, you're in the way of those valuables I want, and they're mine. So you're in the way of it. That's why people can murder and even commit SA on people. Because that's what I want. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. I want that. And they don't care. It's what they need from you. And even those that aren't psychopathic but are narcissistic, what they get emotionally from you, they don't care that it's intruding in your boundaries or that it's not healthy for you or that you need rest, or it doesn't matter. I need something. And you are just there to provide. I've seen a lot of parents be this way, like narcissistic parents. Their children are there to validate them. So they get the emotional, you know, stuff from them. They live their life vicariously through them. So it's all the same mindset, and it's just wicked fallen flesh. It really is. And so he's like, don't fall for this. This is super dangerous. Anybody that's acting and talking like this, they have no respect for human life, and they're going to kill. And it's going to lead you to bad places. Look, there are people spending lives in prison because they were just sitting in the car while somebody did an armed robbery at a gas station. They knew nothing about it. But because of the character of these people, we got to look out for this stuff. But it says, my son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily, this is interesting, for their own lives. So are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. So anyone that has this attitude may not be as like extreme as this, but you'll see a lot of it where these kids get together. We're going to go in there and rob this store. You saw the thieves taking over everything this year. Just boldly, didn't care, daring them, stop me. Well, it's a store. They got everything. I don't have anything. I live in poverty. That's still not your stuff. But this is the mentality. You see? They have no respect for human life. But what they can't see is that all the people they see as easy targets and victims that are just living things in their way that they need to dispose of so they can get their stuff. See what it says here? It says, so are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. They just want your stuff and you're in the way. You got to go. What they're really doing is when they're plotting to rush in and sneak around to steal and murder to get the spoils, it's their own life they're sneaking up on. It's their own downfall they're plotting. It never ends well for them. Ever. We know God's not mocked to reap what you sow. Now, it might not be for each specific crime. This is equally valid. But in the long run, God is just. And if it's not done temporally here on this earth, it'll get done. But he's speaking here in earthly temporal ways. You reap what you sow. And it's going to lead you into destruction because you are plotting and planning the murder, the just bloodshed for no reason other than just greed. I don't want to wait. Lack of patience. I don't want to wait. I don't want to work for it. I want what you got. And people that are willing to go out and commit violence against others, they are plotting their own demise because they're sowing into death. They will reap the death in many ways. And so, a lot of people may say, well, they weren't really doing that. But let me tell you how I put this in my own life. As a kid, I was saved as a child. I really do believe that. And I went away into apostasy and confusion and then came back to the Lord. But there were kids in the neighborhood, and we all used to walk. I lived down the street from this place called Cedar Hill Cemetery, and it was a Civil War burial area, very large, beautiful, big weeping willow trees and stuff. Had little paths through it. It was a lot of hills up and down, mausoleums. Really creepy, but cool, beautiful. And the kids used to cut through there to get to the other side of town to get McDonald's or 7-Eleven to walk on foot, right? It's just a couple of city blocks. So we'd all cut through there. Well, a couple of the kids decided it'd be a good idea to start vandalizing the graves. And so they plotted and planned. We're going to go with sledgehammers and kick them over. So the one kid kicked one over, and it upset me really bad because I thought, what if that was your mom? What if that was your mom's grave? Somebody just vandalized it, and you come to see her, and they've just desecrated her memory like that. Why would you do that? Plus, I knew the historical value. These things were from, uh, uh, you know, some of them were as old as the 1700s, but most of them were 1800s. And so I was like, why are they doing this? Some of these are beautiful, huge statues, and they're memoriams for soldiers and stuff. And I was like, no, thank you. So they all planned to come back and get their slate and go in there and just destroy. They destroyed so many of them, and I refused to go. And I got picked on. I got, mocked like what a bore I was. I was chicken. I was a goody goody or whatever. But it wasn't because I was a goody goody. It's because it didn't feel like a fun or right thing to do. It just felt wrong. And death was serious business. And I just didn't think it was right to do that to someone's grave or their memory. And so I didn't go, despite all of them pushing. And this is a proverb about that. And what happened is they all got arrested. And they were all juvenile, but some of them went to detention centers. Some of them had to spend their summer doing community service and pay fines. And they were mad that they had to spend that doing this stuff. And they had a record. So it it was it came back on them immediately. So this does happen, even though that wasn't somebody's life. But I do know that they tried to rob. They did rob the little lady who used to have a little candy store in her kitchen. She was a lady that lived in poverty, and she would make popsicles for the kids for a quarter, and save her change in a jar. And they went and robbed her. And it always escalates. So we should. I know that you guys know this, but these are just good proverbs to go over with our kids. When they're old enough to pay attention and understand. And this one particularly was touching to me right off the bat because it's so true. Anyway, I told you that this would be sometimes it'd be to encourage and give you assurance of salvation or edify you with evidence for our faith, and I'm still doing that. But I felt like a proverb. Okay, guys. God bless you and have a blessed day. Bye.